I'm Neil Santos, and I'd like to welcome you to the Pentatonic Way Guitar Series. If this is your first time with us, allow me to extend a special invitation to grab your guitar and play along with us during the show. If you've been with us before, please allow me to thank you for inviting us back for another chance to jam with you. We're going to use some simple chords in the pentatonic scale for each show, and I'm going to show you how to play lead guitar over them in a simple way so you sound like a pro. So, I tell you what, let's get started. The concept behind the pentatonic way system is easy to understand and remember, and it's this. For every chord, there's a matching pentatonic scale. That's it. For example, when playing a G minor chord, you play a G minor pentatonic scale. Or playing a D major chord, you play a D major pentatonic scale. You simply match the note name and the tonality of the chord and the scale, and everything you play will sound amazing. So let's begin with this progression today. We're going to start with the G major chord and move up to an A major chord. All right, so you have your G major chord. We'll do a bar chord at the 3rd fret. So you want to put your pointer finger on the 3rd fret on that E string. Then you're going to put your ring finger on the 5th fret on the A string. Now you're going to put your pinky finger on the 5th fret on the D string. And last, you're going to put your middle finger on the 4th fret on that G string. And for the bottom 2 strings, the B and the E, you're just going to bar across with your pointer finger to get those 2. To get a good bar, try using the edge of your finger rather than the fleshy part here. It gets a little bit of contact with the string. Now, one issue that you might have when playing this bar chord is this note behind these other notes. Like your pinky may fall down a little bit too low and mute out that string. So just have to remember that. And a good way to begin playing these is to just play one note at a time. And you can hear if you have any sort of dead notes like that, and you can remedy them. All right, so that's your G major chord. All right, now to play an A major chord, we're just going to take that same shape and move it up 2 frets, because you have G here on the 3rd, be G sharp or A flat here on the 4th, and then A right here on the 5th, right on the fret marker. So we'll just do the same thing. We got our pointer, ring finger, pinky, middle finger, and then barring with the 2 with the pointer there. All right? So you have your G and you have your A. Cool. So let's go over the scales we're going to use over this progression. The first one we're going to use over the G major chord is G major pentatonic. So to play that, we're going to start at the 3rd fret, because that's your G note, and we're going to use your middle finger probably to start. So the frets are going to be 3, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 4, 3, 5, 3, 5. And then descending, 5, 3, 5, 3, 4, 2, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 3. Cool. So that's your G major shape. It's the second shape of the pentatonics, and that's typically seen as the major shape. So now to move it up to A, for our second chord, we just move it up 2 frets, right? So you have G sharp or A flat, and then you have A right here. So we're going to take that same shape and move it up to here. So start in your middle finger, and you have 5, 7, 4, 7, 4, 7, 4, 6, 5, 7, 5, 7. So that's 7, 5, 7, 5, 6, 4, 5, 7, 4, 7, 4, 7, 5. All right? And down at the bottom here, you can use, I tend to jump up and use my 1st and 3rd finger. Do something like that. Or you can use your 2nd and 4th finger, whichever feels more comfortable for you. Cool. So I'm just going to record a little backing track here using those two chords, and then we can jam over it. All right, so that's going to sound like this. All right, there's our G chord. G major, A chord. Kind of a little Grateful Dead vibe going to it. So let's listen while I demonstrate what it sounds like when we combine our two major chords and our two major scales. Feel free to noodle along with me while I play and explore the sounds a bit, all right? So there's the G major, there's the A major. So I just play through simply right now. There's the A major. G major. You don't have to play anything too fancy or fast. Simply doubling up the notes gives a nice sound. Or holding notes. Create some cool melodies with that. Remember to leave some space in between your phrasing. And then slide into the next scale. Has an Allman Brothers vibe to it too. They were big proponents of the major pentatonic. Cool. So you can see how they sound great together. It's because a lot of the same notes from the chord are present in the scale. That note's in there, that note, that note, that note's in there, and then this one, and that one. So you have all of those notes right in the scale. So a lot of times you're going to land on those, and it's just going to blend right in with the chord you're playing. Cool. Now it's time for you to grab your guitar and have some fun. I'm going to play a little rhythmic accompaniment along with this loop, and you can jam along using the scales on the screen. All right? Ready? Let's go. There's your G. All right? So use that G scale. There's A. And then you move up to the A scale. All right? Remember, it's not how fast you go. Just follow your ears. Listen to the notes and how they interact with the chord and how that makes you feel. You're just exploring the sound. Try those double notes if you want to. Try different motifs. Grab a little idea. Move it up. Try to go right down the scale. How's it sound to you? Nothing is wrong with this. Anything you play is going to sound amazing. Now you can take a progression like this and record it on your phone and jam along with it too, if this show doesn't happen to be on at the time you're playing. Cool, so you can take little bits of these scales too, any note combination you want, and play them as chords. That's a good way to kind of accompany someone who's jamming on some chords and create some texture over it while they're just playing the... If you play that too, it might just be too loud, but if someone's singing, then you don't want to solo really, but you can kind of meet them somewhere in between here by just playing some chords. So let's say I grab any note. So on this one, the G major, I'm going to grab that G. Maybe I'll grab this note back here. That's like the A, so that gives you a nice kind of sus sound. Maybe grab this note. Whatever you can grab. So that sounds good. Has a nice open sound. You can move that up. So let me try that with the loop. Create some sort of hook that like adds to the song. Kind of cool. Let's grab another one. How about right here? Kind of a nice sound. So anything you can, any combination you can think of. Cool. So I'd like to take a second here and show you a cool lick using this shape of the pentatonic scale. So we're using it as a major scale right now, and we'll do it at the G. So let's check out what we can do with that shape. One of the coolest things you can do with pentatonics is do that sort of Hendrixy sort of sound. And that's perfect for this shape. So all I'm doing there is I'm barring the two frets at the bottom, the two strings at the bottom at the third. So you have those two notes. And I'll do what they call a hammer-on. I'll pluck them both and do a hammer-on on the B string. So I'm doing this. You pluck the third and just hammer on with your ring finger the fifth fret. And you're not really picking that one. You're just hammering it on. Now, combining that with that open, that long note at the bottom, you get that sort of rub, and then you can go back to that sound. And that gives you that sort of cool Hendrixy like vibe. It adds some thickness to your licks sonically. So you have it there on those two strings. Now, if we move up a string, we'll hold the B string with our middle finger on the third fret. We'll have our pointer finger on the second fret back here, and we'll do our hammer on with our ring finger on the fourth fret. So we'll be holding that note, and we'll be doing this, 2 to 4. So if you put them both together, gives a cool sound. So kind of cool. If we move that up to the A, has that cool sort of classic rock vibe to it right there. So let me try that with the backing track and hear how it sounds. Try to fit it in wherever when you're practicing. It doesn't have to be super musical. You're just trying to see where it fits. It could be at the end of a phrase, or at the beginning of a phrase. Yeah, something like that. And you can do that with all your pentatonics. So if you're sitting around practicing them, it works great with that first shape of the pentatonic. Say you were playing it here on the G, you can do it there. Because this one's great for it because all of the notes along the back edge are on one fret. So you can do it really easily all along that edge. So experimentation is always encouraged. There's no wrong answer. Guitar is art, and it's all up to your personal taste, how you feel when you play it, what you think sounds good. No one can tell you it's wrong. So just mess around to your heart's content. So that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed this approach to improvising and helps you play with confidence and find your own voice in the guitar. It's a simple way to understand the guitar that you can do. And if you try, I'd love to hear some recordings of what you're doing. So if you have time, take a video and send it over to me at thepentatonicway.com. You can head on over there to learn more about this technique. We have courses and memberships, and I'd love to hear from you over there. Be part of the community. Till then, from all of us here at the Pentatonic Way, I'd like to wish you happy picking and good luck, my friend.